Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna sew a really nice pink jacket named Sarah. So I got this really cute fabric right here, which is a gray fabric. It's a wool mix and I think there's also some alpaca in it. I'm not really sure about that, but it's a mix out of synthetic and also natural fibers. I'm really like how you see, I just made the fit right here. So we have the pocket right here with the corners cut it off right here, but they're obviously into the inside, so they're pretty and nice. You have this little front seam right here. It's gonna have a collar. We're gonna put some buttons in with a button tape, and on the side right here in the seam you also have a pocket. So it's has a pocket in the front and also the breast pocket. On the sleeve you have a little folding part, which I really like, and as well a cuff, so you have a little bit more space on the sleeve, which I really like. It's a little bit cut off, if you can see right here, but just not too much, so it has a casual fit, but with the fabric I would say it's gonna get a really elegant look of it. And you're gonna find down below in my description box in my shop there's a beamer version and as well printed versions. I'm sewing size small and I got 2 meters of the fabric, so the fabric was 1.50 meters by 2 meters, and I have here just like this little square left over, so maybe for the size small you're also getting 2 meters, and for the upper size I would just get more fabric, like maybe for extra large I would get, yeah, maybe something between 2.50 meters and 3 meters, something about that. I always get a little bit more fabric because maybe if I mess up a pocket or whatever, or to have just a little bit extra fabric, I would say we're just gonna go ahead and start. That's everything you're gonna need. You need twice the pocket, you need twice the cuff, then you need one front collar and one back collar. You need the back piece once and in the folding line, and then you need the front twice with the button tape, with the button down. You're gonna need the part which goes on top of the pockets right here. You need that 4 times. You need the side pocket 4 times, and you need the sleeve twice. Obviously you have 2 parts of the sleeve, the main sleeve with the folding part inside, and also the side sleeve, the back sleeve with the normal one. And something we have to do is putting some fleece lining as well onto that. So I have here onto the pockets fleece lining and also folded it, and make sure you have all the marks. And then with the collar I have it right here, so you have a collar which is the top color and the bottom color, and the bottom color is a little bit smaller than the top color and needs some fleece lining, so it's has a little bit nicer look after that. Here, that's the back part. Here you have all your marks here for the pockets, and as well up here for the back top part, which is this one right here. And you have your marks on this one as well. You see that part has to go onto this, and just follow the marks right here, that's fine, and then you can just go ahead and pin that on. And I'm using some clips, also some pins, that is fine, just up to you. You can use a serger if you like. I'm not going to use any serger, I would say, for this project, because it's not going to take off, and I'm also going to serge around. So first of all I'm going to sew right on top, and then I'm going to spread the seam alone and top stitch just on that seam. You can also iron it, but with wool it's a little bit difficult to iron it on top. And I'm going to put the pockets in just by one step with it. So you are going to need some pockets right here, and I'm just gonna lay them out right sides together, and you have your marks as well right here. If you can tell, there's a mark which goes a little bit further than the pocket is really B, and so you're just gonna put the marks onto the marks right there. Just sew now from to the mark over to the mark, and then afterwards I'm just gonna flip that over and write top stitching onto that, so it's not gonna go flat over again and looks nice and straight. And yeah, you can just use a normal stitch, normal sewing needle, that's totally fine, and then it's all stuck in. I'm gonna do exactly the same with the other pockets. They're both attached right now, which I really like. Away and moving on with the front right here. So let's do the button down right here. So that's the right side. I'm gonna turn the left side up because you're gonna fold that inside. Just gonna fold that and then go to the second one right there, and you're gonna put a pin in and just pin that down, and you go all the way along. And finding the line, you can always take a ruler and go ahead, but you can also just pin it down with like 1 centimeter seam alone and then make it just even. What I always do is I'm just gonna do it how I think it's going to be straight, and then I'm gonna take a ruler and just measure all the way down, so I have 3 centimeters everywhere. That's something we're gonna want right there. It is fine, and then I'm gonna sew from the inside all the way up, and where the open edge is I'm just gonna top stitch that right there, and I'm gonna do this exactly the same with the other side. And then after I'm just gonna place them the fronts to check if they're equal. Just gonna put them on top of each other. Whenever they're both equal and have the same button down row and size, I'm just gonna top stitch that, so it's fine. But I'm gonna leave an opening right here, just about like 2 or 3 centimeters, because that's something we're gonna flip over to the other side, sew along, and then we can fold that over so we have a nice edge. But we are gonna do this later on, so just go ahead and stop like 2 or 3 centimeters before the neck part. Open just for now because we have to put the collar inside, and it's maybe easier just to have it like that and then putting the collar in and turning it, top stitching it, and it's done. But before I'm gonna put them together, I'm just gonna put and adding the top front part on it, which is this one, and you have a mark right there and as well a mark right there. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the right sides together just like that, and then I'm gonna do exactly the same what I did with the bag. So I'm basically gonna sew all the way right here, and then I am gonna top stitch that as well. I'm doing this with both sides again, and I'm also putting the seam downwards on the bag so it's nice and flat and beautiful. And I'm doing this with the front, so they're ready to go. After putting this part on, I'm just gonna attaching the side seams right here. So I am gonna put them right sides together, folding the pockets upwards, so that's really important. And then I'm just gonna start with the pockets right here, putting a pin in, putting it all the way around to the whole side seam. You have your marks just right there, so follow them along, and then you're going to be good and fine. So I just made it right here, so I'm gonna sew this little part right here, stopping here, turning the foot, and then sewing the pockets all the way around, and then sew this part over, going upwards and stopping right here where the sleeve is gonna come in. And after I'm sewing this, I'm doing it with both sides obviously, and then I'm just gonna spread the seam alone, the seam right here open, and then I'm going to top stitch it onto the left and the right side. Obviously I'm stopping where the pockets are going to be. The seams are just looking nice like that. You see I just sewed around, and then I stop where the pocket began, and then the same one right here. And from the inside it just looks like that, so really nice and clean. So put them right sides together, just like that. Putting them right sides together and just sewing the shoulder seam right here. And so I'm just gonna pin that down. I am gonna top stitch the same way, so I'm sewing it so I'm just gonna sew the shoulder parts onto the shoulders, the front onto the back, right sides together with 1 centimeter seam alone, because I made that. It depends on what seam alone you are gonna do. And then after sewing both sides, I'm just gonna spread the seam again like I did with the sides and just top stitching it on both sides, so the shoulder just looks nice and flat. And then you can basically try the jacket on. Obviously it's going to be a little bit too long just by now because we don't have the hem on, so they're gonna come about 2 or 3 centimeters away. But just check if you have a nice fit of it, and then we're gonna put the sleeve in. Okay, so we can move on with the pockets, and I'm gonna start with the pocket lid. So I'm gonna put them right sides together, and I'm just gonna sew from right here down to the corner, up here, and this over here. I'm gonna leave the long side open, because then after sewing it I can just cut into it and also turn that around, and then I'm gonna save that. So just go ahead and take your 4 pieces, put them right sides together and open, and go ahead and sew that. So that's just how it looks. I'm gonna cut right into this and cutting off the corners. Don't cut too much into that, because we only want to have, because we don't want a hole into that. So just cut the corners off. And then we can flip that over to the right side, just like that, pushing the corner. So I just ironed on top of it so it's nice and flat. And now I'm gonna top stitch all the way around, and this open edge I'm just gonna sew really close to the edge, because that's something we're gonna like fold like that, you see. So that's how it's gonna look, really nice and clean. You see I top stitched that. In a minute I'm going to show you how you can really find the right position from the sewing pattern on. So just go ahead and do the other side as well, and then you take your pockets right here, which you have also twice. So we just gonna have them fleece lining on, and what I'm gonna do, you see this side right here, basically the side from the pocket, and I am just gonna fold that 1 centimeter all the way. You can iron it on also if you like, and I'm just gonna sew not on the corner, I'm gonna sew right where this side belongs to be. That's how it's gonna look from the inside, and then we have the lid as well. And some trick, maybe I'm gonna show you that, is if you have it like that, and you can just now beam it, or you take your sewing pattern and just lay it right where it belongs to be, and then I'm literally just folding where it belongs to be, and then I'm just gonna take a pin where the pocket starts, just like right there. Check that it's equal and even, and if there are how you want it to be, so they're right onto the corner. And then I'm also pinning it down here, so I can take my pocket and I can just place it where the marks are going to be. Putting the lid right on top, I'm gonna sew this on right here, then I'm folding it downwards and just top stitching it. But just make sure not to top stitching the pocket on. And if you want some buttons just right here, you would have to put right now the button hole into this, and the button you can sew per hand onto that. That's fine. I'm just gonna have I will have some push buttons on, so I'm just gonna do it afterwards. Sleeve just right there. You're only gonna need one side by now, so you have the 3 marks right there, and the outer marks I'm just gonna put right on the middle. The same I'm doing with the other side and also with the other sleeve, and just using some pins right there. And I'm gonna secure the point by sewing just on top of this right here. And in the same moment, what you can do, you can also put the sleeves on top of each other. So just right now, and then we're gonna put the sleeve on top of each other too. So if you're laying it out just like that, you see you're having the arm hole. You see you have the curve of the arm. And then like this, that's not gonna work obviously, and it's gonna be too short. So just put the long sides on top of each other and pin all the way down. I'm going to do this with both sides of the sleeves, and again the same method. I'm just going to sew it normally, and then I'm going to spread the seam and I'm going to do the same what I did with the bag. So I'm just going to sew over it and then folding the seam downwards to the smaller side of the sleeve and top stitching it so it's nice and flat. The same thing I'm gonna do just with the other side. So the sleeves are both done, how you can see, and I'm just gonna fold the right sides together and sew the armhole right here, and then I'm just gonna put them into the armhole from the body, so you have your marks that you cannot mess that up with sewing the right sleeve inside. But if you just want to have a little test, you can just put them right sides on, like I'm gonna do this here with the shoulder seams. So the right sides are laying upwards, and then I'm just gonna fold that down, make it flat so the right sides are together, and then I can just pin it around and also sew it. I'm gonna do this with both sides of the sleeve obviously, and then I am moving on with the cuff. And with the cuff, you have 2 cuffs, so you can just put them right sides together, the shorter side on top of each other, and then you're gonna sew that really quick. You sewed it, you can just go ahead and turn that inside out, and maybe sew also the open side, and then I'm just gonna put them right sides onto the sleeves, so like I would do it with a sweatshirt cuff basically. Pin it around, it should be even. Just put the seams onto the lower seam of the, which we not top stitched, and then you can just pin that around. It should fit really perfectly onto that. And for the hem, you just need a little bit left over of the fleece lining, so I'm putting about 1 centimeter all around, and then I'm cutting like just a little bit less than the fleece lining is into that, and just gonna fold that upwards. So because we did cut into it, we can now really form it and have the curve wise. If we wouldn't cut into that, it would be really difficult to do so. So I'm just gonna fold that over about 1.5 or 2 centimeters. That's really up to you. I'm just gonna do about 1.5 centimeter. I think that would look nice, and then I'm gonna pin that all the way and can top stitch it, and I'm done. And if you do like this project and you don't want to miss any other video, maybe you should subscribe. I have also really nice cute sewing patterns down below in my shop, so if you just want to check them out, that would be really nice. And my Instagram, I'm always posting what I'm currently doing and what I'm working on. It doesn't matter if it's for school, just private, or for the shop or whatever. So I'm always up to that. For the collar, which is now the last part, and I feel like that's always the hardest part, but also the prettiest part. And what I have to do, you just have to put them right sides together. Obviously one will be a little bit too short, so it's gonna curve that, but we do want that curve. It is nice. If you want a better tutorial, just go ahead and check out bodycon dress, which is inspired by a polo shirt. I have a color right there, which is really nice explained, so you have a better explanation right there. But just put them right sides together, and then you're gonna sew where the end of the collar is and also the curve. Why is the outer curve, not the inside of the curve? And you're just gonna sew that. After, you're gonna cut into the seam alone and turn that inside out. You make it nice and flat with the iron, and also top stitching it, and then we can pin it right sides on. So for the collar, we have it done right now, but now we have a side which is longer and one side which is shorter. And the shorter side, we just have to put right sides on the back mid from the body form, and then we're just gonna pin that around. Maybe you want to flip over the button down, and then it's nice and better to sew on. And then I'm taking the longer side, just a half a centimeter down or whatever seam alone you have, and then top stitching it. So I'm basically just pinning it on, check that it's even and nice, pinning that on, and then I'm just gonna have basically the body form sandwich between the collar, and we have nice edges. So that's something I'm gonna do on the back mid. But I'm just putting a little string on, so it's the back tape, it's the hanger, a little string on, so it's the hanger, and also my little tag, so it's just a little bit nicer to look. And so that you can just finish the button down with top stitching it. If you want, you can also top stitching the cuffs, that's just up to you. And then we're gonna put the buttons in. You can just put some if you have a button presser first, you can use that and just put the buttonhole in, and then I would sew the button on, so that you have some button marks onto your sewing pattern. But if you don't want to use that, that's fine. You can just find your button position how you want it. Yeah, but for me, I'm just gonna use some buttons, like push buttons, to press down and then they're closed. I really wanted to use them, and I got them just on Amazon, so you can just buy them there if you like. And there's also like a little instruction always on the buttons. And okay guys, that's it for today. I really hope you liked today's video. I'm loving this jacket. I always wanted a jacket between my summer jacket and also my winter coat, so I feel like that's a really perfect fit. Then everything that's on it. Also, the jacket are really trendy right now. You're gonna see them and find them on any store or also on runways. And also the pockets, or some cargo pants, they're really in trend. So this pocket is also really trendy. And maybe you're gonna give this video a big thumbs up, and also subscribe to sewing pattern. And the sewing pattern you're gonna find, like always, down below in the description box in my shop. There's so many more. Maybe you want to check them out. Also Instagram, I'm posting every time what I'm doing. I'm every day doing something with fashion, or something that has something to do with fashion, creative, or sewing. So maybe you want to check that out as well. I'm gonna link my name down below, but I'm also having the same name like I'm here on. And yeah, I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.